It's Monday, the 23rd of October 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed Business News, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Adam Lang, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Adam.
Sean, story number 1 this morning. China has agreed to drop punitive tariffs on Australian wine, and that's the last major trade sanction against Australian exports ahead of a visit by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese next month.
Very exciting, Adam. Albanese yesterday said he'll make the first bilateral trip to China by an Australian Prime Minister since 2016. He's going early November and he'll meet President Xi Jinping. As we speak, he's in the air on the way to the US for an official visit to Washington, D.C. I'll tell you about that in a moment. The removal of the tariffs on wine will take place over 5 months, and yesterday the Prime Minister welcomed the decision, saying it adds to strong trade benefits between both countries. In return, Australia will suspend its World Trade Organization challenge to the wine tariffs. Now, in 2020, under the Scott Morrison government, China imposed sanctions on $20 billion worth of exports. One company that will be happy is Treasury Wine Estates, which has been hammered by the punitive tariffs. Yesterday, boss Tim Ford said he was very happy there's a path forward. Adam?
Sean, it's only fair that the Chinese can buy Penfolds Grange Hermitage again. Good luck to them.
Absolutely.
Story number 2, you mentioned that the PM is heading to the US. What are the goals of the visit?
Well, he's got quite a few goals, according to media reports. He wants to enable Australian companies to tap into the Biden administration's Big Spending Inflation Reduction Act, including developing incentives for American firms to invest in Australia. He'll also try to kickstart AUKUS-related legislation, which has stalled because of congressional dysfunction in the US. There's a critical minerals roundtable and the need to flesh out details around the Climate Critical Minerals and Clean Energy Transformation Compact, signed by the two leaders in May. Albanese and Biden are getting to know each other pretty well. 9 meetings in less than 18 months, Adam. This trip, there's supposed to be a state dinner for Albo, an Oval Office meeting, sure, plenty of picture opportunities there, as well as a joint press conference.
Sean, if it builds better relations and trade, I'm all for it. Story number 3, there were several large pro-Palestinian marches over the weekend as the war in the Middle East intensifies.
An estimated 7,000 people joined the march in Melbourne, while there were protests in other cities as well. In London, 100,000 people attended a pro-Palestinian rally. In Sydney, Lord Mayor Clover Moore will block a proposal to fly the Israeli flag outside Town Hall and light the building in blue and white, saying it would be divisive, harmful and counter to the city's values of harmony and inclusion. Australians in Lebanon have been urged to leave that country as a result of escalated military action. Meanwhile, Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers said the war could push up petrol prices. On the ground, Israel's military said Iranian-backed Hezbollah risked dragging neighbouring Lebanon into the war as Lebanese militia continue to fire rockets across the border. Israel also warned that aerial strikes will be stepped up on Gaza in preparation for the next stage of operations. Sounds ominous.
Sean, story number 4. The Qantas annual general meeting is in a couple of weeks and it's going to be a doozy. 5 major proxy advisors, they're the people who advise shareholders on how to vote at the AGMs, have recommended investors reject Qantas's executive pay scheme.
Yes, and they want more details over why the board hasn't hit the hip pocket of management over an adverse High Court ruling and the flight's credit saga. A couple of the advisors have recommended voting against the motion that new Chief Executive Vanessa Hudson be granted long-term incentive payments this financial year. In 2018, National Australia Bank received 88% of votes against its remuneration report. Maybe Qantas will give that record a shake. It follows the news on Friday that airfares at the national carrier will rise by 3.5% from Friday on the back of higher oil prices. Not looking good. Qantas' share price hit a 1-year low on Friday.
Sean, story number 5, the annual list of the most marketable athletes from SportsPro has come out, and at the very top is football genius Lionel Messi, followed by basketballer LeBron James. Number 3 was Alex Morgan, who's an American women's footballer. We are talking soccer.
Admittedly, the list is US-focused, and Alex Morgan isn't the only female footballer in the top 10. Megan Rapinoe, who has taken on Donald Trump at times, been high-profile here in Australia, also made it in at number 5. Number 4 was basketballer Giannis. I'm not going to actually attempt his surname because he's so famous, everyone just calls him Giannis, a bit like Michael. Anyway, I won't go there. Then came US alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. Number 7 was Lewis Hamilton, the F1 driver. Max Verstappen, the great F1 driver at the moment. He came in at number 10. Number 8 was gymnast Simone Biles. Incredible individual, that one. And number 9 was French footballer Kylian Mbappe.
That's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you very much, Adam.
It's Monday, the 23rd of October, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, then find our longer podcast called Fear and Greed on your favourite podcast platform. I'm Adam Lang, and that was the Fast Five by Fear and Greed Business News. I hope you have a great day.